Hi, folks. I am just sharing my experience during my scuba diving, which I did in Kavaratti and Bangaram. Both are islands in the Lakshadweep group. I hope you'll enjoy this, and it's more like a primer for all those people who want to try out scuba diving. Firstly, Kavaratti, the capital of Lakshadweep, is a PADI certified training center. That is Professional Association of Diving Instructors, an international body which trains you and certifies you in the process of diving. Scuba diving is basically of two types. One is the simpler one called the lagoon dives. Lagoon is that space which is there between the shoreline and the deep ocean. This is a peaceful part of the water which is still because of the coral reefs which prevent the waves from hitting the coast. The other one is called the deep sea dive. Deep sea dive is beyond the coral reefs, and it has the bottom is towards the ocean, and you will be scaling the walls of the coral reefs. You'll not be able to see the bottom. In the lagoon dive, you will be able to see the bottom of the land of the lagoon. Each of this clip is about 1.5 minutes as required by Instagram. So kindly keep browsing through all of them to finally understand how the total process is. Getting ready. The scuba suit is simply not required in Indian waters because it's warm. The oxygen tank is fitted to your body. You don't have to worry about getting drowned. In fact, you will always keep floating because of the oxygen tanks. The scuba mask closes the eyes and the nose. People with short sight can get scuba masks which are adjusted to the sight. In fact, I used a -5 level scuba mask. Though your nose is blocked, you just need to keep breathing normally. You inhale and exhale through the mouth device. As you cannot speak underwater, you are taught some signs to go up, go down, stay there. These signs have to be remembered. As you go down, you need to stop at every 10 feet and try to blow your nose into the ears so that the equilibrium in the inner ear gets adjusted. To go down, you require weights which are normally fitted to the belt of the trainer and not for you. So you keep popping up because of the oxygen tank. The trainer keeps pushing you down below. Well, then how does the trainer or you come up? The scuba equipment has got a belt which has got air spaces, and it's called the BCD, buoyancy control device. So air is automatically pumped into this by switching on a motor. So you start moving up as the belt fills up with oxygen. So you can reduce the amount of air going into that belt, and you keep going. You can keep stopping at different levels or going down. Normally, any deep sea floating session cannot be for more than 1 hour. But then you can do 2 deep sea dives after taking a 1 hour break in between. But then you have to stay put on the boat in the deep sea with the wetsuit. Another word of caution, you cannot fly for 24 hours after you scuba dive. Please do check out all the clips. The next set is my experience in Bangaram. And at the last, I have also uploaded 2 other clips, which is titled Scuba at 60. In my bucket list was the holiday in Maldives. When their president turned hostile to Indians, I gave up the idea. Well then, Mera Bharat Mahan, so I plan to go to Lakshadweep. And here we are, flying over the deep blue seas and the light green lagoons and white sands. We landed in Agati, which is the port of entry and which is the only island which has got an airport. It's a very small island. It is as wide as the airstrip is and as long as the runway is. It's only a transit point for other islands like Kavaratti and Bangaram. While you can stay in Agati, there are no hotels and you should require a special police permit from the town where you are starting from, which is obviously impossible to get. Other islands are managed by the tourism, therefore you don't require any permit to enter these islands. Our first stop was at Kavaratti, which is the capital of the Lakshadweep Islands. It's just about 5 kilometers long and 2 kilometers wide. Well, Lakshadweep is an expensive holiday and it's not very tourism friendly as yet. We had to forego curd in the 7 days that we stayed there. All these have to come from the mainland in Kochi. When stocks are out, it takes 1 week to replenish. The transport between the islands is through high-speed catamarans, which normally comes only once a day. Even this is not possible in monsoons. During monsoons, only large ships once a month go between these islands. Kavaratti, among other things, has a lighthouse and also an army post. Of course, the collector sits in Kavaratti. For education, colleges are in another major island called Kadamat. Most popular means of public transport are only autos. Even these are shipped from Mangalore or Kochi and serviced only there. Of course, there are a few private cars as well. After 2 days, we moved to Bangaram Island. Bangaram can be reached only through Agati. So we went back from Kavaratti to Agati and Agati to Bangaram. Bangaram is being very close to Agati can be reached by even smaller boats. Bangaram is an otherwise uninhabited island and it's open only during the tourist season. Alcohol is prohibited all over Lakshadweep except for Bangaram Islands. A part of this island and another island close by called Tinkara are being privatized. We stayed in the cottages. However, those igloo-like structures which you see in the video are the private. Did scuba diving in Bangaram too, but then the experience was not as good as it was in Kavaratti. Among other things that you can do is to watch turtles in the deep water. Another option for visiting Lakshadweep is through ships, where you stay in the ships overnight and in the daytime you go to the various islands around. Well, we had a great time. I hope all of us will be able to see it once.